final story is UK police target queer Jewish business. Yes, I should just scroll down to that because I'm just all over the place. I'm sorry if I've not seemed so coherent this time. Again, we're going through a lot right now, and I'm kind of just hanging on in there. So the last story is UK police target queer Jewish business. The name of the business is the Pink Peacock, which is a queer Yiddish pay what you can cafe in Glasgow Southside that was meant to open over a year ago, but it wasn't able due to COVID. Sadly, they couldn't open their door. But their vision, what they sought to create, was a venue that offered the following: late night, alcohol free, focus on solidarity, accessibility, and queer liberation, 100% vegan, kosher, and halal, bilingual in Yiddish and English. So quite a wonderful vision there. And whilst they were unable to open, what they've been doing instead is helping the queer community by offering pay what you can meal deliveries during COVID, which again, people have been losing jobs, people have been suffering, so they have really, even before they've opened their front doors and had their first, their first patrons there, they've already done so much for the community.
It's almost like they said, we can't really do anything right now, so we might as well just go and save some people's lives just to kill time.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it is really wonderful to see. And the cafe declares itself open to all, except for TERFs and police. They even have a reusable bag which says "fuck the police" in English on one side and Yiddish on the other side. And that's where the problems began. The Pink Peacock's founders, Morgan Hollop, he is a non-binary person who uses he, him pronouns. That will become important later. And Joe Isaac were having lunch on the 14th of June when the police knocked on their door and told them that they were being charged for breach of peace. Why? Well, whilst their cafe is being renovated, or I guess it's currently postponed on renovated, like you can see inside, it's got like bare wooden floors with nothing on it. There's stuff in the back stacked up, etc. They've put a load of like political posters in the window, images or objects that they're selling, including the aforementioned "fuck the police" bag, which, by the way, is for sale on their website. The suggested price is £10 because, again, their whole business model is pay what you can. Yes, I'm not saying you should go buy it. I'm just telling you should definitely go buy it. So the police then escorted Morgan from his home over to the cafe, where they seized the offending item, taking it as evidence and putting it in like an actual fucking evidence bag, which Morgan then had to sign. All of which was caught on camera, with Morgan putting on an absolute show, which is just glorious in its own way, because why not? So the police... and the video ends with Morgan putting up another bag. This time they had it "fuck the police" side open first, the police say something, so they then switched it round to the Yiddish side. And the police didn't seem to realise it's just the same thing written in Yiddish. Now, what's stirring about this, of course, is the overreach of power. We'll go into that in a second. But just in how the police have recorded the situation and the subsequent news reporting, the police have recorded Morgan as a man, when again, he's non-binary. He simply goes by he, him pronouns. This, of course, has meant the papers have been reporting on him as a man as well. And this isn't a case of Morgan selected the option for male. Morgan was not given an option to declare his gender as anything other than male, female, or unknown. And since it was none of those, they said none of the above. So the police put him down as male. So right there, an act of violence by police in misgendering him, refusing to acknowledge and respect his humanity, his personhood. And sadly, the papers have taken that and they've run with it. So one thing that the Pink Peacock has been doing a lot is correcting people about Morgan and the fact that he is non-binary. But of course, this brings us round to the whole overreaching of power. Like, what the fuck is going on here? The police saw a bag that says "fuck the police" in a queer cafe, a queer Yiddish cafe, I should mention, and they decided that it was a good use of their time to turn up at the owner's door, drag them, through the streets publicly, and seize that bag as evidence. First of all, they have no fucking case here. There is nothing about that bag being in the window display that would, quote, conduct severe enough, that would be, quote, conduct severe enough to cause alarm to ordinary people and threaten serious disturbance to the community, end quote. Nobody is going to see a bag that says "fuck the police," certainly not in today's society, and go, that's scary. That threatens society and our way of life. That's just not the case. So this is not going to last. This is not going to stand. But that's the thing. The police don't need the charge to stick. That's not why they're doing this. At most, Morgan would be fined. That's not what they're after. They just want to know. They just want to let Morgan know that they're watching him. They just want to tell them that we know where you live, we know where your partner lives. If you do anything to upset us, we'll be back for you. It's power flexing. It's police brutality. It's just meant to terrorize the queer community. And it shows us that, it's not just, like London police, etc., that are doing this shit. It's throughout the UK. The police in the UK are not magically better than, say, American police. I know a lot of people like to pretend that our British police are more sophisticated because they act in a certain way.
They're very polite.
They're very polite, yes. They're
Even
very
when
well
they arrest
mannered and
people.
respectable. But that doesn't suddenly make the violence any less real. As we discussed in the previous show, a quarter of all hate crime victims of specifically LGBT plus hate crime are afraid of police. Okay? This is a community-wide phenomenon. This isn't just a one-off. This is a standard that has become the norm. And yeah, okay, the rich, wealthy LGBT plus folk like to pretend like it's not a real issue. But when you start getting to members of the Jewish community, members of the trans community, members of the sex worker community, ace folk, etc., that violence is still there. And also the working class community, etc., that violence is still there, it's still present. People of colour as well. So, and this is really one of those reminders, and I just want to discuss, because there was a point that I'd meant to discuss in the last show, but I forgot, and that was the discussion surrounding police and their place of pride, because coming to understand that a quarter of all queer hate crime victims are afraid of police, that shows very strongly that police have no place at Pride in the UK. They do not belong. They are still a symbol of oppression and fear and bigotry, homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, queerphobia, acephobia. Like, so much is going on, and of course there's the intersection of racism and classism. The poor get poorer. The rich get richer, the poor get prison, is the expression. They just do not fucking belong at Pride. And what happened to the Pink Peacock is just a very clear case sample that shows why. They will, if their egos are challenged in the slightest bit, resort to terrorizing small queer businesses. Shakira is right there, marking their territory and maintaining fear. It's maintaining the hegemony. control through fear.
Not to mention they're also very incompetent. I'm surprised UK police can be that incompetent about things on the internet.
What? On the internet?
Yeah, I mean...
It wasn't on the internet, it was real
No,
life.
but in general, because I have had experience with the Met Police.
Right, okay, you're talking about your dealings. Okay, sorry. So yeah, and it really does just go to show that they do not fucking belong. It's been a fucking journey. I went to my first London Pride in 2014 and I saw the police there, and you know what? I didn't think anything of it. But talking to more people of colour, talking to more trans people, sex workers, you know, queer folk in general, has opened my eyes over the past 7 years to see that it does not fucking belong. There is no safety given to us by their presence, so they really need to pack up and fuck off. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I have two things to add. Is one, for anyone who like isn't as keyed into this issue might think, well, of course the police did this. The bag said fuck the police, and like one as we've already covered, the bag is not posing any kind of danger. It's just unreasonable. You know, I don't care if their feelings were hurt. That doesn't justify terrorizing people. You're not allowed to terrorize people if they hurt your feelings. The police shouldn't be able to either.
Like they're trained. They're trained to deal with this. Like that's the whole thing. Like you see it in America of like, oh well, like these protesters were like swearing at police. It's like, you, as citizen, if someone swore at you, would not be justified in inflicting violence. Yeah. You're holding police to a lower standard than yourself. If I said, go fuck yourself, Levi, you would be expected to take that. The police, meanwhile, as a fucking institution supported by the government, is so apparently disturbed, so harmed by the existence of a fabric bag that says fuck the police during, you know, a global movement against police brutality. You know, it's just an absolute fucking disgrace, and it links back to the Sarah Everard memorial service and what they did there. They waited until night at a memorial about a woman who had been kidnapped and murdered by police. They waited until night, barged in riot gear, grabbed a bunch of women, and dragged them off into the dark. You know, the messages they're sending out are very clear. The UK police are not on your side. They are not your friends. They are not part of your community. Okay? Don't trust them. Don't treat them like such. Sorry.
Australia. Australia, like, what are the police like over there?
We still got more to talk here, but...
Okay.
Sorry. Do you want to answer that now or in a second?
Yeah. So I don't have that many dealings with the police beyond me begging them for help and them telling me to go fuck myself. Because I'm white, and also because I'm just generally, you might not believe me when I say this, I'm generally a fairly timid person. I don't like go out of my way to cause trouble or anything, or I try to be non-threatening. A few times I've worried that like people might notice something off about me because of being autistic and might cause problems because of that, but it hasn't happened. I think people can just kind of tell that I'm just like a timid person who wants to get through life. So I don't really have any stories of police brutality in Australia other than vaguely knowing that they do the same messed up stuff to Indigenous people here as they do to Black and Indigenous people in the US and, you know, BBIPOC people in the UK. But I can definitely say that the police in Australia are shit. They're really incompetent. They don't give a flying fuck. And if you ask them for help, they will gaslight and abuse you for no reason. They never say that they're sorry. 0 out of 10 would not recommend.
Okay.
I don't mean they never say they're sorry as in admitting wrongdoing. I mean, like, if you confide in them that something horrible happened to you, they will never say, I'm sorry that happened to you. They have no compassion. They are not, the only reason I would not say that they're not human is because I know that humans have a capacity for horrible evil, but like, they are unfeeling husks that like, they're just disgusting. The police are terrible everywhere. Australia is not special. Yeah, back to the point I was
Fine.
going to make is, of course, like, yeah, if it's not just like insults, but also as an ordinary citizen, people can inflict some pretty horrible violence against you, and you're expected to take that. You know, if someone who has power over you gaslights you or denies your humanity, you're not allowed to react by physically attacking them, or you know, even like psychologically terrorizing them, and also physical violence. How many times do we hear the story of at school, a boy will be attacked by another boy, and then if he fights back, he gets in trouble?
Yeah.
As a citizen, you are expected to take a ridiculous amount of violence, not just from police, but from the ordinary citizens. And yet, if the police get their feelings hurt, they think people think it's okay for them to terrorize you. That's not okay. But also, and I will actually talk about Australian police, a case study which I know is not proof of anything because it's a different country and all that. But my brother constantly complains about the police and how badly they treat him. And in fact, he even apparently on his bike, either he did or he does have like tape on the wheel spokes that spells out "fuck the police." But the worst he's ever gotten is police like stopping him to talk to him when he's done stuff like refusing to wear his helmet, which is very illegal in Australia. Things like riding recklessly through outdoor thoroughfare, like riding his bike recklessly through outdoor thoroughfares where there are people walking all over the place, and you know, like things that you'd expect the police to stop people for. And he acts like he's being treated horribly. And of course, the difference is he's a cishet white man. So this is not just the police targeting anyone who hurts their feelings, but specifically targeting minorities. When cishet white men are, you know, horrible to the police, they get a gentle talking to about the dangerous and illegal things that they're doing. So yeah, make no mistake that this is bigotry, this is targeted. But also the second thing, which I probably should have mentioned first, I didn't realize we were going to do a whole thing. The second thing, which is very, very important, is when Glade saw this in the agenda, they immediately said to me, "Oh, so this is modern day Kristallnacht. This is Kristallnacht. This is the Night of the Long Knives. This is people attacking and terrorizing Jewish businesses."
Yeah. It's the government
this
doing it.
The government attacking Jewish businesses. This is like this is exactly the fucking same as what the Nazis were doing. You know, it's that there's that meme going around of like, oh, we got rid of the Nazis, or like, oh, we defeated the Nazis. Oh, you're gonna get rid of them, right? You're gonna get rid of them, right? No, the UK is not getting rid of the Nazis.
So
I know we need to be vigilant about that, and we need to.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly we can do about that, but hopefully at least being aware, talking to people about it if you can, and saying Kristallnacht is happening again in the UK. It is the UK, isn't it? I'm not
it is the UK.
Yep,
Yes.
Glasgow.
It's Glasgow.
Okay, thank goodness. Yeah.
Don't believe the propaganda. Yeah, and I believe that's really it for the show today. Hopefully, it's been a decent. I know I've kind of minced my words a few times.
Both of us have just. I didn't realize it was going to be such a mess today. My brain has just decided it cannot anymore, and it's just kind of like for several days I'd actually been doing really well. I was really focused. I tend to have lots of problems with executive dysfunction, but just the stress of the current situation has really put me into overdrive.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. You know, I was focusing and I was working really well. I managed to work pretty much from dawn till dusk for about 3 or 4 days in a row. And then I think things have relaxed a bit. And then my brain has just been like, nope, we're just going to stop working and randomly crash for no reason. Hopefully the message got out, even if I wasn't as eloquent as I'd like. And hopefully learn something useful that maybe you can go and tell other people that and say, this is happening, this is important to keep an eye on. I think awareness is really important for a lot of these things. And, something that one person mentioned when I saw when I was researching the story on Hungary was someone who said, we have to tell everyone, like every man, every woman, every child, what is going on right now and get them to understand.
And that's why we're here. So again, always check our references, like do check ourselves. The Pink Peacock, the situation is unfurling, and we'll probably keep track of that. I think I'm following them on Twitter now. Again, go give them your support. They actually sold out of pink bags. It has completely backfired on the police. They sold out of pink bags. I believe they got a new load in. The police bag is of course pink. It's written on a pink bag. So go buy, pay what you can, support them in any way. Because again, they've been hit hard with fucking COVID as a cafe. But they still kept going, and they've actually helped the queer community and the community in general. So they're definitely worth supporting.
They're also Scottish.
They're in Scotland. Yeah.